everybody. This is the introduction to my new novel, Moxie and Roses. And this one I just want to kind of talk about, actually just do a little intro to the novel, and then talk about what I plan to do with it, and what it's about. So I'm going to be sharing this for free as a text version on my website and on YouTube, my YouTube channel. And the novel's about, I would say, 2/3 of the way done. So the fun part is you guys are going to get to experience a lot of it as it's being written. I would say I can't remember. I think I'm 19 chapters in, and I probably have another 10 or so more to go. So it'll be kind of fun to see it as it evolves. So this book, just to do a little intro about what it's about, and then I'll kind of talk about, what I was thinking as I was, starting to connect with the people from this book. And if you want to see how I write my books, where do I get my ideas from, there's a video on my YouTube channel, an intro video, and I think it's in my playlist too, about how these books come to me. But this book is, the book description I had wrote out is what happens when a young girl is called to do the bidding of spirit at a spooky horse ranch. And the lead character's name is Moxie Montego, and she works nights at a high-end Dallas strip club. And Diego Escamilla is a bartender at this club, and he's also a ranch hand at a ranch called Thunder Rose. And he likes Moxie, but this men's club that he works at, which is owned by his aunt, he's obviously not able to socialize or get involved with any of the girls that work there. But he likes Moxie, and he knows that she really is kind of wanting to get out of where she's at. She doesn't really like what she does anymore. So many people who are kind of trying to find their way now, they're kind of waking up to the fact, I don't like where I'm at anymore. I want to do something different. And she feels like she's kind of stuck in this job that, it makes money and it pays the bills, but her heart and soul are not there. She likes to be outside, and she likes horses. And so Diego likes her, and he works at this horse ranch, and he knows that she likes horses, and so he asks her out to this. He doesn't ask her out on a date. He just says, it's your day off. Do you want to come to this horse ranch with me and see what's going on here? I think you just might like it so that you can relax and be around the horses. And Thunder Rose Ranch has been around. It's been handed down through family generations. It's a 600-acre horse ranch in northern Texas, run by a lady who is a past beauty pageant queen in her younger days, and she's a little bit older now, and obviously she doesn't do the beauty queen thing anymore. She got this horse ranch as part of a divorce from her husband. And so herself and her 18-year-old daughter, Amber, live there and run this ranch. And she's very successful at running the ranch. She's won all sorts of awards. She has all sorts of horses there. She teaches riding lessons, and she and her staff work with the horses and board horses and so forth. So there's a lot of horses there. But the ranch lies up against the edge of this forest, and it's a forest that has been part of Pamela's past. Pamela is the owner of Thunder Rose. It's been part of her past ever since she was a little girl. Her family has lived in the same city, and where she lived with her parents when she was little kind of was on the other, bordered up against this forest as well. And she had really spooky things happen to her when she was a little girl. She was very scared of this forest. She didn't want to go in it. Her parents always told her, don't go in there. but at the same time she loved it, and so she was like drawn to it. She didn't know why. So she was up against this fear of this forest, but at the same time she was very curious about what's in there. But she kind of let her fear overtake her and lead, and drive what she did, so that she never really wanted to go in there, even though she lived like kind of right next to it. So Moxie is this high-end stripper. Diego, who's the bartender, he's very gentle and kind. And Pamela, who I call the lonely socialite, because that's just what I feel from her when I like tune into her energy. She's this beautiful woman who's getting older. She feels that she's getting older, and she doesn't feel like people see her the same way that they used to when she was a little beauty pageant queen, like in her late teens and early 20s. When she was in her early 20s, like right after she had her daughter and she was getting divorced from her husband, she had just gotten the ranch and a divorce, and she went to a horse auction to get horses for the ranch, and she meets this really cool guy. She doesn't know what to make of him. He's a Native American, like 20s, and he's very handsome, and he's very mysterious, and he's very drawn to Pamela, but he's not drawn to her for her beauty. He's drawn to her because he sees behind the mask of who she really is. Like, he doesn't, I think in one of the chapters, he's just like, I just wish this woman, what does she look like under all this makeup? Because she was like wearing all this makeup and trying to, still kind of play the beauty queen role. And they meet at the horse auction. They're just drawn to each other. And they start talking about, their past and how they were brought up. And, he's a young Native American who's been taught the ways of working with animals and working with spirit guardians and working with the spirit world as part of his ancestry from his grandparents. And his grandparents always wanted him to carry on the tradition of the medicine man that was in his lineage from the tribe that he's from. And he kind of does it, but he kind of does it on the side. And he also he works a lot with horses. So people mainly in the outside world know him as a horse whisperer. He doesn't like to be called that at all. He just thinks he has a way with animals, but he has a way with any living being. He knows their soul and he knows their energy, and he knows how to speak to them and talk to them. So he doesn't really, when I connect with Edgar Whitetail is his name, when I connect with him, he doesn't want to be called a horse whisperer. He just knows how to work with spirit. And so when they're younger, he meets Pamela, and they have just like any soulmates would, or I don't see them as twin flames, but as any soulmates were, they have an attraction to each other. And so they form a bond, and Pamela finds out about how he can work with horses. And so during the summertime, he works in Oklahoma, like helping with people with their ranches. He just helps them like herd cattle and do stuff with his horse, he just works. He lives by himself, next to a little river. He doesn't really get socially involved with people so much. He's kind of to himself, and he just kind of keeps to himself and his horses that he has. But he has agreed, because he likes Pamela and because she requested it, like during the winter times when he's not really doing this cattle work and this ranching work, he goes down to Thunder Rose Ranch to help her with horses that need special care. He helps her take care of the ranch because she's kind of all by herself in terms of like a male figure that's there to help out. She's got hired ranch hands, Luke and Billy are like her full-time ranch hands, but she doesn't really have anybody, to help her with some of the other things around the ranch. And so then, they've done this. Edgar come down to the Thunder Rose Ranch every winter for like 20-something years now. He's been coming, and they reach a point where it's kind of like, what is going on with this relationship? So there's that dynamic between the two of them, and they're very drawn to each other. They've never had, any intimate contact like that. They've never admitted their feelings for each other, although secretly inside, both of them wish, like, when is this person going to open up their heart to me? So that dynamic is played out in the book. And then there's a dynamic between Moxie and Diego, the dancer, and the bartender ranch hand. So he's a part-time ranch hand at Thunder Rose. And then there's Amber, Pamela's 18-year-old daughter, who's kind of in the mix as a kind of a slight love triangle. Like, she really has a thing for Diego, but she kind of just wants somebody to love her. I don't think it has to be Diego. I think she just wants somebody to love her. So during this novel, we see her finding herself, finding out what it means to truly love in terms of loving herself and loving others. And I think she's finding herself along the way throughout this book. When I connect with her, she's just, she's like her mom. She's beautiful. She could be a beauty queen, but she doesn't really want to do that kind of thing. She wants something more, but she's only 18. She doesn't really know, so she's just kind of figuring it out. And she's got her mom as, her only guide. And then Edgar, the horse whisperer, guy, kind of takes her under his wing as like a little apprentice to help him out, because he realizes, like, hey, there's something here in this girl. She's young, she's talented, and there's so much more she could be doing with her life. And he really thinks, like, I want to teach her about the spirit world, and I want her to know more than just superficial things. So he takes her under his wing, and not really from a father figure perspective, but I think he just wants to be like her guide and mentor. So there's that happening. And then the overarching thing, which kind of drove me, like, these characters came to me, I don't know, like a year ago, very strongly wanting their story to be told. And I only really dive into these stories if they feel exciting to me, like if I think it's going to be fun to write the story out, because I don't plan the story out. I don't outline a book and chapters and outline, a thing. I just sit down and I tune into these characters that came to me, and I let them tell me the story, and I really just write it down. So some people may call that channeling. I don't know. I don't call it channeling. I think somewhere out there, this book's already written, right? And my higher self already knows the book. And so I just write it down as it's being told to me, coming through my, higher self into my consciousness, and the words just come out on the pages. So I don't know the story in advance. So I get surprised along with you guys, which is the fun part. Kind of finding out what's going to happen along the way. So I get these characters, they come in to me, they want me to tell their story, and I kind of sit with it for a little bit, and I kind of like get a sense for what I think the story might be about, knowing that there's going to be these unexpected twists and turns along the way, and do I want to go along for that ride, which when I opened up to that in my first book, Reiki and Rock, it was really an amazing experience. So we're in the middle now of Moxie and Roses, and I'll tell you, it's been a challenge for me, because several times I've been like, I just don't know if I really want to continue with this story, because it's taken me places where I didn't know if I necessarily wanted to go with it. It got a little dark there for a little bit. It got 2 or 3 chapters in, the story was getting a little dark, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to go to this dark side. I don't know if I want to sit here with these things that are happening. So in the forest, just to kind of give you an idea, at the forest edge, like, everyone's drawn to this ranch. Spooky stuff is happening along the way. Really scary things are happening at the ranch, and everybody's kind of on edge, and the horses are on edge. It's been going on for a long time, because Pamela had seen scary things happening since she was a little girl, and so it's intensifying now, and things are manifesting, scary happenings. People at the ranch are encountering, noises and apparitions and things that are making them nervous. And so Pamela sends an SOS kind of out to Edgar up in Oklahoma. She doesn't even care that it's not winter yet. She's like, I need you here at Thunder Rose now. Something's going on. She knows he deals with the spirit world, and she wants him to come help her figure this out. Like, she's tired of this. She doesn't want to be scared of the forest anymore. She doesn't want people scared to come to the ranch. Like, what if word gets out that something weird is going on there? So she calls for help, and the book kind of drops in like where he's coming to help her. So there's some background story and to get everybody up to speed with where we're at, and then we kind of drop in with Moxie and Diego showing up at the ranch for like this little couple day vacation for Moxie, and Edgar coming down to try and figure out what's going on with at the ranch. And they're discovering all sorts of things. And already they've had the times that they've gone into the woods, they've discovered this box, this wooden box. All it has is a brass cross on top. They don't even really truly understand what it is, but every time somebody opens it, they have like they have like an out of body experience, and they don't understand the purpose of this box. So there's the box. Then they've had several sightings of the Virgin Mary in this forest, and the Virgin Mary just telling them through Edgar, because he's mainly the one that can kind of interpret what's going on through some of these spirit messages that are happening, is the Virgin Mary coming through Edgar and telling them that Moxie, this stripper girl, is like the key to opening up everything at the ranch to divine love. That people are gonna, that she's gonna be like this, Moxie's gonna be like this messenger of divine love, and that this ranch is gonna be some sort of not a portal, but some sort of a place where people are gonna understand, like, wow, there's something holy and sacred going on here, and we want everybody to know about it. We want the world to know about this magical place, and what's going on here. So there's that. And then on the darker side of things, there's this, I say malevolent force, but I don't know. I don't feel it like totally, like completely evil. It's just like this force that's scared. It's like these beings, these spirit beings who are scared. Like, they don't want the light to conquer the darkness. They're frightened by that. And this is just so much of what's going on now in our world. Like, darkness is scared of the light, and light always wins over darkness. And that's part of the subtitle of the book is like, the light kind of wins over the darkness. And these spirit beings are scared. And so they're trying to frighten everybody away from the ranch. They don't want anybody to come into the woods. They don't want anyone to know this secret of this divinity and this sacred light and this divine love that's waiting to kind of be opened up and as a catalyst, per se, for others to come and kind of experience it. Who knows why it's this ranch and not somewhere else? I don't know. I haven't really figured that out yet. And I think this audio is getting kind of long, so I'm going to stop it here in a minute. But who knows why they're scared, but they're scared, and so they're manifesting themselves as like evil witch beings, and they're trying to scare people off, and they're just doing spooky things because they're threatened. And it's up to Edgar as the spirit helper, the medicine man, or whatever you want to call him, what does he want to be called? This medicine man, but he's just like spirit helper. He likes those titles, but it's just up to him to help bring these messages forth and kind of decipher what's going on. And then Moxie, who's kind of scared, like, what the heck? I just came to this ranch, to relax for a couple of days with a friend of mine, and in the course of all that, I'm finding some stuff. I'm finding romance. So she's going to open her heart, but she's going to open it even bigger than romance. She's going to open her heart. She's going to have this bigger service purpose, like purpose to serve others in a way that's different from serving her own purpose of I just need to make a living. She's going to learn how to, selfless service is what I'm hearing. She's going to learn about selfless service and devoting herself to serving a greater good in this book. But along the way, we're kind of scared from these other beings who don't want, these darker the energies that don't want all of this good stuff to happen. But in the end, I know it's all going to be good. The darker beings are going to come to the light. We're going to not conquer them, but we're going to bring them over to our side with love. So these demons and these spirits, I mean, we're just going to shower them with love through this book and through this story. I just know that's what's going to happen, and they're just going to fade. They're just going to fade into love. They're either going to come over to the love side, or they're just going to fade into love, or they're just going to choose to leave and go somewhere else. So that's my my interpretation of what's happening here. I'm going to slowly start to record and put out the chapters one by one, and then we're going to get to a point where if I don't finish this book soon in the next month or so, we'll get to a point where we're kind of writing through this final chapters together, waiting to see kind of where this all takes us. So I hope you're as excited about this as I am. I'm going to post this in a couple of places, and I'm sorry it's so long, but if you've gotten to the end, I think you're really going to enjoy this book. So thanks so much for listening to me. Take care.